Hello everyone, Saddam and welcome. I'm trying a new way to do the video, so be patient with me and trying to get it to work, the technology, but hopefully everything is working now. And today we're going to be doing the next video, the next episode on this journey through sounds. And today is going to be the sound L. And I will explain a little bit about why I choose the sound L to follow S. But before we go into that, I just want to do a few more reflections upon the letter S. Just like we did with the sh sound, we had some comments from our viewers, which I very much appreciate. And I would like to mention some of these comments because they are relevant to what we were studying. And especially from other languages, which, you know, I only speak a few languages. So if you who are watching it, you know other languages is useful for the stream. So let me read some of the comments and hopefully maybe sometime in the future I will be able to put them on the screen. It will look better. But right now I'm just learning how to do this. So I will read them off my screen and you cannot see them. There was a comment by Isabel about some words related to water in French, and I don't know how to pronounce them, but soif, meaning thirst, source, like the water source, sang, meaning blood, is very similar to, in Spanish we say sangre, or in Catalan sang, just like in French, and blood is liquid, right? Savon, which is soap, and sur, I don't know, perspiring, and other words like sagesse, wisdom, and soy, the self. And okay, so they are very connected, linked to water. Wisdom is not like automatically directly linked to water, but it is linked to the numbers. So I guess that's why Isabel is putting the word here, because she knows numbers. So wisdom is number 8. And we were saying how the S is linked to number 2, the snake, but on the most elevated side, it manifests as the 8, as the wisdom of the sage. Yeah? So in this case, is the wisdom, yeah? Even in French, the word wisdom. So those are some comments from Isabel. We have some comments from Sohail on the letter S as well. He mentions that he cannot recall any S word in direct relation to water and the snake in Farsi, but in general the S sound is reminiscent of the earth. So that's interesting. That's really quite different. And he says sang as stone and cold as hard and green as subs. Those would be different qualities with different numbers, but it's interesting that he says sang as stone. And there is a comment replying from Isabel, which she was saying, you know, sang in Farsi is stone, but in French means blood. And yes, and in Sanskrit, says Sohail, that means Sangat is community. So that would be communities 4 and 6. But it's very interesting the stone and the blood, because from the numbers perspective, if we have to give a number to blood, it's not so easy. It's not so simple, because on one way we can focus on its quality of liquidity. Yeah, like it's a liquid in the body, like lymphatic, the lymph, yeah? So if you think about the blood as being liquid, then, okay, you can put it in the 2 and the 8. But generally, we associate blood much more with the 1 and 9. The color is red, like the first chakra. It's produced within the bones, yeah, in the bone marrow, which is the 1 as well. And I don't know, Shiv often refers the blood as, you know, linked also to the DNA and things like that. So he associates it with the 1 and 9. So interesting that the concept of blood, sangre, it's between the 2 and the 1. Yeah? So how interesting that we have it in Farsi linked to the number 1 as stone, and in romantic languages like French and Spanish, that's linked to the liquid, and so number 2. That's interesting. There's something else from Sohail, very, very interesting. He says there is also Haft Sin, the 7 S's. And it's 7 items that start with S, and they are the symbols of nature. nature, livelihood, and health, which, by the way, all these nature, livelihood, health, this is all linked to the 218 and is celebrated at the spring equinox, which again is number 2. I just did a video on the autumn a few days ago, and I was reflecting upon autumn being air and being the wind and the blowing of the leaves falling from the trees and so on. Spring, that's number 2. So we were talking about the letter S, spring, yeah? And in Farsi, there is these 7 S's, so let's read them. I mean, I don't know how to read them properly, but I will butcher them, but it's okay. Sabse, you can read in the comments, yeah? Sabse is sprouted wheat, which stands for rebirth and renewal, and birth is number 2, 8 is death. Senjet, the dried oleaster fruit, which symbolizes love. Seer, which is garlic, representing health and protection, health again being number 2. Sip, the apple, stands for beauty and good health. Sumac berries are symbolize the sun rays and the triumph of good versus evil, which is the polarity of 2, number 2, good and evil. Serke, or something like that, vinegar, remainder of patience and wisdom. Here comes the wisdom, like the sagesse, I think it was in French. So that's connected to the 8. And samanu, which is a sweet paste made from sprouted wheat. I guess it's like from the sabze, and represents abundance and the sweetness of life. And together these 7 S's celebrate nature, life, and the coming of spring. So again, very significant, 7 words, very significant in this language, in Farsi, which it's far away from the English that I'm studying in this course, far away from the Spanish and the Catalan and Portuguese that I'm most familiar with, and yet all these 7 very symbolic words which are associated to those things which are also number 2, spring and so on. And I realized I didn't do any drawing the other day, and I was like missing my drawings because I like to draw a lot, and so I'll just for the fun of it, reflect upon how I was mentioning how the letter S is associated to number 2, and even within the shape of the S, we can see there is 2 sides. Yeah, there's this side and there is this side. You can almost see this is like the yin yang, a kind of yin yang. Yeah. Well, this would be this like that, and this would be, the letter S also contains this polarity, like the number 8. It has these 2 sides as well. And so, the very shape is reflecting something here. And I think that's quite interesting. I don't know if it will happen with every letter, but it's interesting. All right, so why am I going from the letter S to the letter L? I've been myself thinking what should be the order that we should follow, and I'm not entirely sure which order should it be. Should it go through numbers? The numbers are still not 100% clear. This is what we are experimenting and exploring here in this course. Should we go through the alphabet in the English alphabet? English alphabet doesn't make much sense in terms of the order of the letters that it has linked to the numbers. So I was reflecting upon how we started from the very bottom of the Sanskrit alphabet with the sibilants, sha and sa. And so right next to the sibilants, we have the semi-vowels in Sanskrit, which are ya, ra, la, va. And ha would also be part of this group because these are the 5 bija sounds that vibrate in the chakras. And when we look at the drawing of the vibrations of the chakras, you can see lam, vam, ram, yam, ham. And I think it's a natural progression to start from the S and then go up like this. And maybe afterwards we will start to go down in order. But first, going up the chakras. And it's not just because we are connecting to the L linked to the S in the first chakra, but for another reason. Now, let me just say one thing. Remember, there is a vibration in the body, and then there is the effect that we associate with that and the psycho-emotional meaning that we associate to that sound. So it doesn't have to coincide. And this is what we will see with the letter L a lot. So the letter L is linked to the first chakra, and it vibrates in the lower part of the body, specifically the first chakra. But the meaning itself will be slightly different. Now, there is another convenient reason to using this as the next sounds, which is that it's very hard to isolate the meaning of one sound by itself. And again, we're going to find ourselves with words which have a number of sounds put together. And so if we find those sounds which are more predominant in our language to be mixed up with others, it's going to be easier to talk about these sounds later. And the two sounds that are more, or that I find more frequently in combination with other letters, are the R and the letter L. The R and the L very much appear with other consonants next to each other. Like frowning, okay, so that's the F and the R, right? I'm frowning, there's the F and the R. Glowing, okay, that's the G and the L. So the R and the L are going to be very present. So if we study them early, every time I refer to the R or the L, we will already have that in our back pocket. So that's the reason why we're going to start with the L as being one of these letters that very much appear in combination with others. So let's reflect upon the letter L. And as we will do with every letter, I think first of all, the most important is to notice how we pronounce it. So if you want to take a second to notice in your mouth what happens when you are producing the sound of the L. And just try to do just the L, L, L. I mean, it's unavoidable to do some vowel sound, but just concentrate on the consonant. L, 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 la 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 la. Okay, so if you notice this letter, this sound, it's alveolar, it's voiced, and a lateral approximant. I will explain what this means. Alveolar means that it's the place where the tongue is placed in what is called the alveolar ridge behind the teeth. So there's the teeth and there's the alveolar ridge, and that's where you put the tongue. L, 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 l. That's not the only letter that you produce over there, but this is a significant one. Now, it's called voiced, the sound. And when we have voice sounds and unvoiced sounds are those which vibrate and don't vibrate. So when you have a voiced sound is one in which the vocal cords are vibrating. So if you look at all this, the way the Sanskrit alphabet is constructed, they have the voiced and the unvoiced sounds next to each other. So pa, 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 ba, 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 pa, 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 ba, pa, pa, ba, ba, ma. Hold on, am I doing it right? Yes, one is this the one? Ka, 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 ka. So let's do the K and the G. So if you do just the K sound without the A, the vocal cords do not vibrate. So this is voiceless. G, 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 g. To produce the G, even though it's very similar, g, 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 this is voiced, which means that this column is where there is vibration. So with the pa and the ba, you can do the P without vibration. There is vibration. So these are voiceless, these are voiced, but only up until here. Okay, voiceless and voiced. Now, when we come to the semi-vowels, they don't follow this pattern of voiceless and voiced. In this case, exploring the sound la, we start from this one because even though it's the third in the line, this is the first chakra. So going up from the chakra. So this la sound, this lam, l, is voiced. Well, why do we care about this technicality? And you know, my daughters in school are studying syntax and the name of, you know, all the different kinds of adjectives, and if this verb is whatever conjugation, and I'm like, Oh my God, I had to study that in school and I really didn't like it because I never found any use for that. In the case of sounds, however, there is a use for that. An L sound is voice, meaning that the vocal cords are going to vibrate. That vibration is going to have some effect on the meaning that you are conveying with that sound. So we have to keep it into consideration. There is vibration with the letter L. And the tongue is in the alveolar ridge. Let's remember that. Now the third component of the letter L, the sound, is that it's called a lateral approximant. And that means that lateral because it's the sides. So the tongue is going up and the sound and the vibration goes through the sides of the tongue. And that's, as far as I know, this is the only lateral approximant in English. As far as I know, I may be wrong. But in other languages we would have more, like in Catalan we have fulla for a leaf. Now these autumn leaves, are falling. So fulla, that would be also a lateral approximant, I believe. I'm not an expert on this, all right? So if anybody knows any better, please correct me. that would be useful. But so the air is passing through the sides of the tongue, and that's unusual, okay? When we have some characteristics of a sound that make it unusual and differentiates it from another, that characteristic is what's going to give some special meaning to that sound. So, if in the letter, like we were saying, the sh was outside of the mouth, remember? We did the other day, and this is right where the saliva accumulates behind the teeth. Well, the l, making the sound go around the tongue, this is what creates like a flow of the air, and it kind of flows around. Flow, the word flow is very associated to liquids. And the letter L in the study of sounds is considered a liquid sound. It's called a liquid sound. So just like the letter S, and we found it was number 2, and it had many connections to liquids, we're going to find that the letter L is also connected to liquids. But don't jump ahead and connect it immediately to 2 and 8, because the letter L is quite special. It has qualities of a number of numbers, a few numbers together, and we will explore this slowly. But let's not, so don't jump ahead too quickly, but let's start from there. The sound goes around the L and it flows around, and there is some vibration in that flowing around. That's like the turbulence of the water as it moves around the rock, right? The L, the tongue, makes the effect of a rock in the stream of water. Okay, so that L becomes liquid. So let's find some liquid words that are connected to liquid with a letter L. And we have a lake, or a loch, in Scotland. We have a leak, when water is leaking. A lapping, and laugh, and lagoon, a ladle, to surf, Something lush means a lot of water, Loop, or limpets, which grow in the water, and even lucid. Lucid, I think you can associate it to like a lucid lake, for example, like when the water is very transparent. So this is linked to this, no? There is the air passing through the sides of the tongue, and there is no burst, there is no hiss, there is no blockage. It's just liquid moving through an obstacle. So there is this liquid quality of the L. But the movement is quite soft. It's not disturbed. Even though there is this blockage of the tongue, it's quite soft and it's quite relaxed. The L, it's quite relaxed. It's different from the k, or g. The K and the G, we'll have to explore them in a future video. But L, is very soft and relaxed and flowing. So far we associated to liquid, which is 2 and 8, and maybe more the 8 than the 2, but doesn't matter, 2 and 8. And then the softness of it, it's connecting to a certain quality of relaxation. And let's find some L words, like lull, or lull, or lullaby, or loaf, or lounge, or a lair, yeah, where you lounge in the like the airport lounge, and a lair where the animals are gonna go to rest. They're gonna lie down and rest, or lay, or becoming limp, or lax, or lap. So there is some softness to the letter. There is some relaxation quality to it. Now relaxation is number 9. That's the relaxing. So we have the 8 of the liquid linking to the 9. We're going to see that. It kind of flows from the 8 to the 9. We'll see where it goes. Now the sound L is very bright. It has a bright resonance, and it's almost vowel-like. I mentioned that they are sometimes called semi-vowels, these sounds. And they have a particular quality that is differentiated from other consonants and from vowels. So it's not like a, I, u, like the regular vowels. It's not like the k, g, j, like the consonants. They have specific qualities, and from the yogic perspective, they also convey different things. Aurobindo talks about this. We mentioned the difference between vowels and semi-vowels and consonants in the mantra course. If you want to know more about this, you can watch that video in that course that we have in the channel. But yeah, it has this quality of semi-vowel, and it's like a vowel-like quality, and it's a very smooth and bright airflow with good resonance, and there is no turbulence. Even though the vocal cords have vibration, there is no particular turbulence. I think I mentioned before the turbulence of the water around, but the L can be a very bright sound as well. So when you produce it, it can sound clear to the ear. So la 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 la. And maybe this is the reason why sometimes when we don't know the words of something, la 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 la, we just say with the L. Also, we make it light. Yeah, we are singing a light tune, and we use this L sound because it's gonna make bright, different tones, yeah, or sounds. So this lightness of the sound, this is gonna be conveyed in the meaning of words that start with L. So actually, light can mean two things, and both things are connected to the letter L. Let's see that. The weightless aspect, light as something that is weightless. We have some things like lifting, or loft, or lilt, or lark, or leap. Yeah, like picking a big jump, leap. It's like you have to be light to be able to do these things. So it goes into that, but it can also be light, and this is one of the main meanings of the letter L, light as luminous, something that conveys light, to illuminate something. So we have lit, lamp, lantern, luster, lucid. In this case, it's like when we were saying, when I mentioned the lucid lake, meaning like a lake that the light can go through because it's transparent. So I don't know whether the L of lucid is more about the water, is more about the light, not so much about the water, yeah? But it's this aspect that you can see through. Yeah, it's transparent, and there is a luminous quality to it. There's light in it. So okay, luminous as well, and lumens, yeah. And so when this letter L, you're going to find it linked to other sounds, they often have this quality of light. And we will see it changes the quality of the light. But we will see this more in the letter G. But we're going to explore, for example, when something glows, or gleams, or glints. So the letter G has some qualities very different from the letter L, but the moment you put the letter L next to it, there is some light quality appearing into that word. So the gleaming, yeah, or glowing, yeah, or glaring, yeah. So there is light within that word. And I'm just giving 3 examples where the L is not in the first position. So this is kind of the beginning of where we're going to be going with this study. First, we explore the letter in isolation, then we will see it combined with other sounds, how it changes the meaning of that sound and what it conveys. So in this case, I would very much associate the L with the light of number 10. So we have liquid of the L, number 8, very light, like not heavy, that's number 9, so subtle that becomes 10 light, the light that illuminates things. So it's 8, 9, 10. It's kind of like an 8 that wants to flow into the 10, which reminds me in numerology when we say the 8 is like a 10 that is folded and it has to unfold. So that's 8, 9, 10. Sanan Latika, hello, good to see you. Bright resonance, never thought it that way. Are all semivowels and vowels bright? In astrology, semivowels are of moon quality and vowels are of the sun. Oh, that's interesting. I would love to study more about the vowels. I haven't found enough information on this. In the summer, apparently I crossed the path with somebody who was studying vowels and I didn't even know. Somebody told me, oh, you are doing the same work that this guy is doing on vowels. And I'm like, where is he? I want to talk to him. He was in a festival, but I couldn't connect. But yeah, very interesting. So in astrology, semivowels are the moon and vowels are the sun. That's quite interesting. Yeah, there is this aspect of, there is different ways in which is described the difference between vowels and semivowels and also the consonants. Sometimes it's like the body and the spirit and the soul. I think there is a description by, who was that? Well, there is something from Aurobindo about the semivowels being the link to the spirit, I believe. It was something like that. But yeah, Steiner wrote something like the consonants are the soul and the vowels are the spirit, something like that. But I'm not sure what he meant. I have to read more from Steiner. Yeah, I've definitely been recommended his books and they may shed more light into the topic. So yeah, that's something to reflect upon. Reflect like the light is reflected on, on a surface with a glare or with a glow. Yeah. All right, so we're coming back to the L. So L linked to water, which wants to flow, but light, which wants to fill the space. The L sound tends to also fill that space, especially when it's followed with a vowel like flow or blow or glow. Or it can also cluster and glom together. So depending also on the consonant and the vowel that you use, it may flow and glow, or it may cluster and glom. Yeah, so it either flows and glows or clusters and get together and like a paste. Yeah, and it may occupy a small space, and we have a number of letters which. Words. Satnam Isabel, welcome. I was just talking about you a minute ago, about the comments you made on the other video. Welcome. So the L can feel this aspect of filling, yeah? It can be filling a little space, like little, or low, or lean, or lane, but you see, very often with these vowels, which are like lean, lane, yeah, this E, this sound, or little, yeah, lean, lane, the E sound makes the L small space. If you use la A, O, it makes the space bigger, like a large, like long, lofty, or lot, a lot. So this is a little example, but I don't know much about vowels, what I said before, but you can already see here, the vowel that comes after the L makes the space that you are filling with light small or large. Yeah, the large, large or little or large. Yeah. So it's a lot of fun reading a lot of words with the same sound and noticing how these connect. So I mentioned it can glow and flow, or it can glom and cluster. And when it gloms and clusters, it can be because of there is a retardando, we could say, from music, when you have the flow of the sound of the voice, al, la, 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 la. There is a flow, a natural flow, and the L is making the sound go slower. It doesn't cut it. Not like the T or the K, lock, a lock, yeah, like a lake. The K cuts the flow, but the L slows the flow, slows. You see the word slow? Very interesting. And we will see the V in the next video. But interesting, we come with the S of the energy of this water that wants to flow. Yeah, L makes it slower and goes into the V, slow, slow. Well, actually, there is no, we don't pronounce the W, slow. It just becomes a vowel. So in this case, we don't need to wait for the next video to look at this. Slow, slow. Yeah, the L is going to slow down what comes in. And that slowing down a natural flow is what could make things clump together and become more kind of amorphous, like a lump, or a load, or lava, or lard, or loam. Loam is like clay and sand, or ladder, or loaf, or lounge. So this when it has slowed down so much, then it becomes clustered and clumped together, and now it becomes like one amorphous thing. Then it becomes a heavy mass, and actually heavy. Yeah, we were just looking at the L on one side like being light, on the other side can become heavy. The same was happening with the S. You remember we had this duality of qualities with the S, which can be sinful or saintly. So the same thing with the L, but the L is not sinful or saintly, it has nothing to do with that, but it can be light or it can be loaded and leady, like lead, very heavy, yeah? So we have things like load or lumber or lamp or lead or law, heavy like the law, which is interesting with the laws because we are talking heavy. When we think heaviness, we may think number one, but one is connected to the 9. We were just saying how light in the sense of weightless is number 9, but laws are also placed in the number 9 because we say that they are given, there is some universal laws that are given from God or from some higher authority. So that's traditionally would be given by the king, which was supposed to be more aligned with the divine, supposed to. But those are laws, different from rules. Rules, which also has the L, which has the heaviness to it. And the rules want to be like laws because it has the L, but they have the R at the beginning. And the R we're going to see next in 2 weeks' time. And the R is more fiery and makes the laws, which become rules, be not so aligned. That's another one. Aligned, something that is in line, yeah, with the light. Aligned with the light. So in yoga we said there is some natural principles that if you align yourself with, yeah, you make them the laws of your life, and not necessarily like a moral code, but morals has the L within it. This alignment will bring you to the enlightenment, yeah, to the light of the self. The self, the word self also has the L with it, yeah? There's the S of the Kundalini and there's the L of the light. So light and Kundalini, the self. The F we haven't seen yet, but slowly, I don't want to rush ahead, yeah? So we can see how the heaviness is the 1 and the loss is number 9, and loss can become heavy, especially when they are imposed on people, when they are put on the heads of people and you have to bow to them. So when you're in the number 1, you experience the heaviness of the law that falls upon you. Yeah, the one who is on the 9, the king, is putting the laws on the others. The one who is in the 1, they receive the laws. So in the 1, you feel the pressure of that law. And so it can become heavy, this amorphous, slow and heavy thing, yeah? But that's some of the cases. In the most cases, we're going to find the L is just light, is loose, is lively, is loving. It's like very light and very much connected to the light. Interesting, the word love as well, love, to love, and how the word love can be so connected to light. And in a way, when you are in love, it's like everything is brighter. There's much more light, yeah? And there's light in your heart. And actually connects to one of my favorite topics in yoga, which is this light, this inner light that is shining in the cave of the heart. You've heard me talking about this many times, yeah? The third, the cave of the heart, there's a tiny little light, and that light is shining. That's your soul, yourself. Soul, that's another one, yeah? S with the L, self and soul. S with the L, the Kundalini and the light together. So isn't it amazing? Isn't it beautiful that they are all connected in this way? And how love, which is something that we would associate to number 4 and 6, with the letter L is giving it the quality of light. So that's what it's doing. So this is the letter L at the very beginning of words. I mentioned a few examples of the letter L following a consonant and followed by a vowel. Depending on the vowel makes things little or large, and following a consonant, it often makes it glow, like or glare or gleam with a G, which means light. But with other consonants, it will be different. So as we come to every consonant, we're going to also explore some of these combinations. This is fascinating work. But we haven't mentioned the L at the very end of a word. Now that's slightly different, because what does the L do? The tongue goes up, L, L. So we are having a certain flow of the voice, of the sound with whatever word we are doing, and then the tongue goes up. Blah, 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 L. So the L, which normally doesn't stop the flow, it just allows it to flow but slows it down. This retardando I was mentioning before, the slowing, in this case is at the very end, this L becomes something like holding together, L, and is not completed, and is heavy, and it can be all the contrary of this lightness that we were experiencing before. It can become heavy and dark. And so let's see how it affects so many words. When the L is at the end, pay attention to the meaning that you get from reading these words. And compare it to when the L is at the beginning. Okay, light and love. Now L at the end. Ale, wail, boil, scowl, maul, snarl, growl, howl, drool, gruel, cruel, soil, spoil, foil, toil. Jeez Louise. Jeez Louise. Have you noticed how incredibly different the moment that you put the L at the end? This is what it's amazing about these sounds. You explore what the quality is, and then notice when the sound is at the end, how is it going to change? So this lightness and heaviness of number 9 with the L at the end is just the toil and the soil and the growl and the gnarl and the, oh my God, that's really heavy and dark and heavy stuff, right? So that's amazing. That's what happens with the light, with the L of the light. And also, if I was just drawing the S, how interesting that the very letter L, let's say the little L, it's a little bit like a balloon that you are holding, with a string, like a little balloon, It does resemble like that a little bit. I don't know how much of the shapes are going to be linked to the meaning, but this seems to coincide. And Latika says, I think that happens because La also stops the tongue behind the teeth. So the heaviness of that stoppage from the teeth is more pronounced when La is at the end. La, al, al. That's very interesting. And the tongue is linked to number 1. And the teeth are linked to number 1. So ending the word in that 1, that makes it so much heavier. That makes a lot of sense, Latika. Latika, la, la. You have it at the beginning though. But when we begin with la, the tongue feels more prominent and the teeth effect is reduced because of the sound in front of it. The L at the beginning is not stopping the sound, it's letting the air flow just go around, and it's very soft, soothing. It's like a lullaby, It's soft, very different from a toil. Yeah, definitely. Toil is quite the opposite of lat. Toil is T-L, you are latica, L-T. So it's the opposite, Just noticing it. And that's what I'm doing right now. It's an example of how we will apply this. You can apply this later on. So you can take your physical name, your given name or your spiritual name, and explore the meaning of the sounds within that name, and what is it telling you, what is it conveying to you. And that will explain. I don't know if I mentioned it on the other video, but some people don't like to be called Guillermo. Maybe the Y becomes Y, so they want to be called Guy, right? Or maybe you can, in Spanish, Jose can be Pepe. It's the same, but you can be called one or the other. And some people in their ID says Jose, they will never be called Jose. No, call me Pepe. No? Yo soy Pepe. Yes, so that's, you will not see in the ID Pepe. You will say Josep, but they will say, no, Pepe. So that we choose also, when we choose to be called in a particular way, why is that? Well, there's going to be something associated to the sound of how we produce the sound. So that's that. Soul, yeah? What a beautiful word. We can already do the word soul and a little bit of self through this, the S and the L. We have the she as well. Well, I hope you are as excited as I am with this. It's really passionate. I love this. I hope you continue in this attention to these videos. If you don't want to miss them, just make sure you're subscribed, share them with others. That's the best way to make this knowledge to move. Latika says, Principles of Generative Phonology by John T. Jensen. This book was incredible to learn resonance quality of vowels. It improved my senses and awareness a lot. Thank you very much. I appreciate any and every recommendation you can give me. So I'm going to write it down. John T. Jensen. Thank you very much. Generative phonology. I'll take a look at it, Latika. Thank you very much. And thank you everyone for watching, for supporting the members, everyone, subscribers, and just if you're just watching for the first time. Thank you very much. Until next video. Salam.